Hello and welcome to this week's Q&A. I am in Singapore. You can see the boats lined up to go into port behind me. This is just where I answer questions from viewers. It can be about anything about traveling, making a living as a writer, making videos on YouTube, anything about any of these videos that you've seen that you have, a question about, or anything about me personally. But anyway, let's get right into it. We have two questions today, and the first comes from Alistair Munier. How do you manage your finances when traveling around and being a normal? How do you manage your finances traveling around and being a nomad, so to speak? You don't have to give details. That's personal and private. For me, he talks about how he has a house in the northeast of Thailand, and how it would be difficult to pay for that house or to have that house without a Thai bank account. But he actually resides in the UK. Whew. Well, it's I don't know. It's pretty simple actually. Basically, I have a main bank account in the USA, and that's what I use for most transactions, or for most employers to pay into that US bank account. And that US bank account will work pretty much anywhere in the world. Once in a while, Visa decides to get kind of uppity and they ban a country, which means that you can't use your ATM card in certain countries. And yeah, I have showed up at countries, went to the ATM, tried to get out some money, just to realize they're banned by Visa, and that I couldn't get any money out. Iraq was one country that happened, and Colombia was another. That really sucks when that happens. But anyway, for the most part, that is, pretty, I wouldn't say foolproof way to manage finances when traveling, but it works. However, if you want to have more of a deeper financial interaction in a country, it is a good idea to have a bank account in that country. For example, for countries that I get a lot of pay from. So if I'm working for an employer continuously that's from one country, I will try to get a bank account in that country because that makes it easier for them to pay me. Like international transfers, even for big, international firms, usually never work out quite so smoothly. I have no idea why. It seems pretty simple. You plug in the numbers, you send the money, and it shows up into my account. I pay like a $12 fee or something for the transaction, right? It should be simple, but it's not. And a lot of times, even with very developed, very big international companies, I have a really difficult time getting them to transfer money into my US account. So that said, if I'm working in the country, I will try to get a bank account in that country. When I was working for a lot of different employers, contract work and stuff like that in China, I would have a Chinese bank account, and these companies could just pay right into that Chinese bank account, which is easy for them because it's a domestic transfer, right? It's super easy for them. And then I would use my Chinese Union Pay bank account card to access that money pretty much anywhere I am in the world. The Chinese Union Pay system is now almost ubiquitous all over the world. It's almost to the level of like Visa or MasterCard. So I'd be able to get paid into my Chinese account and then take that money out in the USA and Serbia and wherever the hell I'm traveling, right? So that is pretty simple. Ideally, I would like to have my US bank account. I'd like to have a bank account in China and also a bank account in the UK, because I have a lot of employers, especially now, who are based in the UK. My book publisher, UK. Some of the big publications I'm working for now, UK. So I would like to set that up. But that said, I kind of look at these kind of bank accounts that I have in countries outside the USA as being more or less temporary, as just being ways to easily transfer money to me wherever I am in the world, and not really bank accounts to kind of have a long-term savings or like a long-term commitment with. Like, I don't really use that Chinese account anymore. I don't even know if it's open. So they're pretty much just churn and burn accounts, right? I keep them open for as long as I'm getting paid from the country that the bank is based in. And when I don't need it anymore, I just clear all the money out and I kind of just forget about it. So that's pretty much it. I mean, there's really no disadvantage to having, you know, multiple bank accounts in multiple countries, probably the most secure way to keep your money, especially if you're working and traveling internationally and you're like bringing in funds from like countries all over the world. So it's like just a better idea to just have that international dragnet of bank accounts, like always funneling money back to you that you can access pretty much anywhere in the world. And the next question comes from Michael Kuminski. How many passport booklets have you gone through these past years of traveling? Can you talk about the process of getting visas that you have to go through as you travel from country to country? Yeah, I mean, basically I've gone through 2 passports. I've been traveling for nearly 20 years. So now my second passport is getting pretty close to expiring. And basically, yeah, I mean, US passports are good for 10 years, and unless you, well, now here's the thing, right? Now, up to recently, you were able to add extra pages into a US passport. So my US passports, you know, after about, 5 or 6 years of using one of them, would start to get really, really thick. My first passport's like the size of a sandwich, right? Because I had to keep adding extra pages into it as I'd fill them up. But like probably about a year and a half or so ago, the United States stopped allowing the addition of extra pages. So if you fill up your passport, you gotta get a new passport, which really sucks, man. That just really sucks. My wife just recently had to get a new passport when she's only had the one that she has for about 6 years or so, right? So this pretty much means that I'm going to have to start getting either 2 or 3 times the amount of passports that I would otherwise if I could just keep adding pages into it. The current passport I have now, I have 2 sets of extra pages, right? So that means I would be pretty much on my 3rd passport now during this current 10-year cycle. And it's just, I don't know, it kind of sucks. I believe they do it for security or whatever. But if the US really wants to have these passports valid for like 10 years, and not have people like continuously needed to like get new passports over and over and over again, they're gonna have to start making them really, really thick. They just don't make them thick enough. So the passport I have now expires in like 2019. I'll probably get a new one sometime this year. Probably at the end of this year I'll get another one, and then I'm probably looking at getting a new passport every 3 years, every 4 years. Maybe I could stretch out and get only one every 5 years, but I'm not so sure. Those extra booklets that you could get attached into it, that was an ace in the hole, man. And also makes your passport really cool, right? You stride up to like the immigration desk, slam down this brick of a passport. The immigration officer picks it up like this and has to leaf through the whole thing. And when they do that, they say, hey, this guy travels, the guy leaves countries on time, this guy has been doing this for a long time. Obviously he has the money to keep doing it. Kind of like answers a lot of questions and satisfies a lot of points that what they could otherwise be suspicious on, just right off the bat, just showing the degree to which that you've traveled kind of helps in those situations. But anyway, that's it for this week. That's it for the Q&A session this week. This is kind of a short one, but that said, if you have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to leave them in the comments below, email them to me, find me on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, pretty much anywhere else. And just ask away and I will answer them next Sunday. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting and participating, and just basically making the creation of these videos something that's really fun and enjoyable and totally worth it. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you next week.